If it's about board games, it's on the table. Get ready to join Doug and Michael for Board Game Radio.
Welcome to Board Game Radio. I am Doug Kotecki, along with the second best doctor in board gaming, Dr. Michael McCabe. How's it going, Michael?
What's happening, Doug? How are you?
Pretty good. It's going to take me a little bit to get used to that new intro. It's so hardwired into my brain to say the other one.
I know.
So I'm sure there'll be slip-ups, but you, dear listener, will never hear about them because we will edit them all out. But maybe at the end of the year, there'll be a 45-minute video of me repeatedly saying the wrong thing. So, all right. So we're fully back, Michael. Any follow-up from last week?
Yeah, I just have two things. One, I want to thank everybody in our Discord. Our Discord was so encouraging as we talked about coming back and kind of the rebrand, what we're doing on the show. So I appreciate that, and I just hope everyone continues to go there for all things Board Game Radio. I almost said, the name of our previous show. So that's one. And then, Doug, is that okay? Do you have anything to add to that?
Nope. Just be patient with us as we emerge from this cocoon and become a full butterfly.
My T-shirt here, Doug, You see that little Shadow Thief? My preferred Dice Throne champion of choice. Last week, I talked about all things Manny Tremblay, just a huge fan of 2025, whether it was the work on Slam Throne with the art, or Roth, one of my favorite games, Fight 5, one of my favorite games. Well, guess what?
What?
The time that this show drops, for one more week, his latest design will be over on GameFound. And I talked to you offline already, so you know the cost, but it is a deluxe, all in for Jump Masters. And I have a promo card right here. Little game where you draft characters and a take on Chinese checkers. You're eliminating the characters, and whatever they're worth, you get those points. First 1 to 20 wins. See, you already know how to play. We can play. Guess how much it costs, listener?
$250, super deluxe.
Well, I don't know. Maybe for
$300.
The deluxe.
I won't buy it for less than $350.
The deluxe is $40. You sound like me in 2021. The deluxe is $40, folks. $40, $30 for the standard. So just excited to see what Manny and team are doing at Neon Night, which is a branch of Chip Theory Games, and I wanted to share that in the follow-up. We had him. Manny was on as an interview in 2025. Just a great person, amazing designer. So excited to see where that goes.
All right, awesome. Well, speaking of deluxe things, you have a gaming table at home. I have a gaming table at home. But don't you wish that was a little bit more portable?
Oh, I do.
Our sponsor this week, the Nomad foldable gaming table. It has you can have all of the creature comforts and niceties from a traditional game table on the go. It easily fits into a standard backpack, and Michael, it only weighs 125 pounds. Just a breeze to carry around. So if you're going, to a convention, you want to bring a nice fancy table, 125 pounds on your back, simple. It only has 58 interlocking panels, 46 hex screws. It even has 7 table legs. So if you need to reach across, this thing's not going to collapse under your weight. You can reach across and point, take other people's turns for them if you need to. It's got 13 cup holders and a single teeny Allen wrench to put it all together. It'll fit right in your pocket. And this is probably going to shock you, Michael, but it only takes 65 minutes to set up. So you're up and going in no time. And the instructions are language independent, so there's absolutely no words, so you can guess what the symbols mean. It's almost like its own little dexterity game as you play along. And it's a great cooperative starter to get everybody involved. They're like, let's build the table, then we can play some games. So a lot of cool things there. Say goodbye to the plastic folding tables and hello to the Nomad, which is bringing gaming excellence everywhere. So thank you, Nomad Folding Gaming Table, for sponsoring the show this week. We really appreciate that.
Why you have to make fun of my gaming table, Doug? I feel
I'm
like
not.
that
You have
sponsor.
one? You have one?
I have a Project Ironside, which I initially got because I thought we would be taking it to shows to do shows to sell our curriculum on.
Michael, that's
because
not
you can-
portable.
It is too. I have
not-
the
not like the
extended
Nomad.
bag. Well, maybe the Nomad is its competitor, and I need to look into that. But I actually have this extended bag. Weighs about 120 pounds. I just feel like this is a direct attack, Doug, that you got to go out and find competitors. And
I feel like you're doing our sponsors are spending good money for this advertising time, and you're throwing them under the bus by bringing up their competitors. We're talking about Pepsi. You got to bring up Coke. What are we doing here? Gosh,
All
you're
right.
not going to be a sponsor for long. Anyway, we've got a great show for you this week. We'll talk about some news that you may have missed, what's on our mind. We're going to play a game of Troll or No, and we're going to share what we've been playing lately. So stay tuned.
New games, big updates, tabletop headlines you might have missed. Welcome to This Week in Gaming.
All right, Michael, this week in gaming, in this segment, we're going to be talking about, hopefully, what's new each week. We're going to try and stay positive, talk about fun, interesting stories. There is one that's a little bit, it's more discussion worthy, let's put it that way. And because we took an extended break, there's going to be some stuff that may be a little bit older, but these were some stories that I thought were interesting that we should talk about. Speaking of Dice Throne, Michael.
yes,
Dice Throne is going digital with a new cross-platform version. It's going to be launching in April 26th.
yep.
And is that going to Kickstarter or is that
the Kickstarter is launching April 26th? Yep.
okay?
This coming
so not
April.
the app. So they're raising funds to build the app. Is that
Develop
correct?
and build. Yes.
Okay. I am really excited about this. I was even more excited when I thought it was coming out April 26th. But it's going to be interesting because when this comes out, I'm wondering how that will affect, for me personally, my physical playing of the game. Because there are a lot of games that we play that sometimes I wish there was an app just kind of keeping track of that or keeping things on the rails. And I wonder if this will be a game that's like that, where you're just playing it randomly throughout the day. And then you're like, I don't really need to play the physical version because I'm having a blast doing this.
Yeah. So the Dice Throne Digital is coming to Kickstarter on April 14th. And their initial announcement says, choose your platform, claim your throne. So it will be featured on Apple, Android, Steam, and Meta, giving heroes more ways than ever to play with full crossplay. I have the same wondering you do, Doug. Will people like yourself, not me, of course, but people like yourself get rid of their all-in Dice Throne collection because you can now play against your mother on Meta?
Yeah.
And against your brother on Steam. So who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely won't get rid of mine. I mean, I guess theoretically I could. I won't. No, I've got too many deluxe bits, and I like it. I like the dice. I like that one. To me is almost more about the collection than it is actually the game. But I do foresee a future where I'm playing the app more than I am playing the physical copy of the game.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right.
What else you got?
The next one here is that Simon is exploring more IP sales to help with their crowdfunding fulfillment. They have about $14 million of delayed projects, and so they are exploring additional IP sales and licensing to help fulfill those projects.
And this is news from February of 2025, or did you just get this news now?
No, it's in addition to...
I know.
They sold off Blood Rage and the Zombicide to Asmodee.
Death May Die.
They are still looking to potentially offload some more of their IPs and or licensing in order to raise more funds. even though they have gone through this process, I still feel like I've been fairly well informed from CMON, and they have gone out of their way to express how committed they are to fulfilling these projects. So even though they've been pushed back, I still don't have any concerns. Maybe that's me being very naive, but I feel like I will get my pledge at some point. Even if the point of they're selling the whole thing off to somebody else to refulfill it. But again, maybe that's very naive on my part.
So let's talk through your pledge. What do you have?
Yeah. The outstanding pledge that I have is the DC Superheroes United, which is not the complete all-in, but pretty darn close.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was, $350, and has more to do with I'm almost embarrassed to say that, but for me it falls under, and I know I don't need to justify it, but for me it falls under the idea of the duality of being able to paint the minis as well as play the game.
Yeah, I mean, Doug, that's your game. And we've talked about it a lot. Marvel United, Doug has the minis, paints the minis, displays the minis, and guess what? Plays the game with the minis. We'll use the minis in other games too when it calls for it. So I don't know when we'll see it. I think that could be another year and a half down the road. I really do. I think it could be Gen Con of 2027 when our pledges arrive at our houses. And that's just what it is. I have another project, the Dune game that it's tough to say which Dune game because there's so many Dune games, but the War of the Ring that was re-implemented in the Dune universe. I thought I would enjoy that more. I have that on the way at some point. And like you said, I'm also encouraged because I'll get random updates of here's pictures of it. I just think the company is out of money. And even before they can ship their games, they have to figure out which IP to sell off to ship one game. My only fear about the DC United, they're still in the molding process. They have a long ways to go on that game. So who knows?
Yeah. And you never know what kind of agreements are in place behind the scenes of how long some of those licenses last, if you have a certain amount of time to fulfill them before the license would lapse. I guess the good part with that is I'm assuming that's still with Spin Master, so they may be bearing a heavier load with the licensing. I don't know, but for whatever reason, their updates seem to be very forthright and confident, which is reassuring. A lot of times in a Kickstarter, when things start going sour, you get a lot of radio silence, and then you get the laundry list of these are all the things why you should feel bad for me, of why I didn't update you on what's happening. And there's not a lot of that going on. There's a lot of bluntness and, like I said, confidence, which, shame on me. Maybe that'll be something that comes back to bite me. But so far, I feel all right. And I feel like it's a company that's taking the right steps in order to fulfill their obligations.
And it's projected for Q4 of 2026. So we'll see. Other games have fulfilled. Like the Marvel United Witching Hour was a pre-order. Dark Providence was a pre-order. Those have fulfilled. So
yeah, and I thought it also becomes tricky too because people start dropping their pledges or backing out if they can because they're worried that they're not going to get it in the first place, which then puts even more financial strain on the situation. So interesting story, and we'll follow it as it happens. The next one I've got here, which when I first read about it, I thought, oh, that's kind of a cool, I just assumed it was an update, and that is Catan on the Road card game, which is a new design from Klaus Teuber's son, Benjamin Teuber. And I thought it was just a re-implementation of Catan, the card game, which then got re-implemented as Rivals of Catan. And so, but in doing a little bit more digging, it's a new game that is trying to distill the Catan experience into a card game. And it looked pretty interesting. So I'm kind of curious to see what that, what it looks like, how it plays, if that's something that, gets more people to play it, or certainly the things that they like about Catan in maybe a more streamlined way. Hopefully it's just a kind of a fresh new take. So I thought that was kind of a unique story that was out there.
That is awesome. Will you pick that up, do you think, Doug?
Once there's a little bit more information on it, and I think you can download the rules, and I don't think it's actually that far out. I just haven't had a time to dig into it deeper, but I thought it was interesting. It's kind of a son picking up where his father left off and trying something new. So
cool.
How about you? Is that intriguing to you, or just a hard pass?
If you got it, I'd play it. No, if absolutely. If you got it, I'd play it. I just wouldn't run out and get it. It's another thing, too, that I've extended family members and friends like you who are up to date on Catan. And if something comes out there, I know I'll be able to try it and play it and see it. So,
sure.
Yeah, I'm always interested in Catan. It's just hard for me to keep up with that franchise of games. They're always moving and shaking and doing something,
Yeah. All right. So here's an interesting one, is that the rules of a mysterious ancient Roman board game may have been decoded by AI.
I saw that.
So there was a Roman stone board game that has been unplayable since its discovery more than a century ago. And what they ended up doing was taking a look at the board and basically having AI come up with all of the possible games that you might be able to play on a board like that, and then compare, what they say, that there was 1,000 different things, and they used some existing games that they are aware of from the Middle Ages and tried to paste it back on there, and had AI run thousands of games on it to see which one created the same wear marks, basically. What type of game would create those wear marks, and that they think that they may have found how you play the game, which is very similar to a game that they were familiar with from the Middle Ages, that may have gone all the way back to this time period. So
that's cool.
It's an interesting idea and a way to uncover something. They described it as a blocking game, very similar to a tic-tac-toe or something, where you're moving pieces around in order to stop your opponent. So kind of an interesting idea that AI could be used for something that and kind of solve a mystery that is over 100 years old. We think we found this game board. Makes you think about, okay, what happens? What if somebody found your collection 100 years from now, and that they just found a game board of one of your games? It's like they find the
Pandemic
board.
Legacy that you played with and hung on your wall.
How do you play this game? You have no pieces, and certainly there's way more complicated rule sets now. But of course, I guess if you found something from like Quarto or something that was an abstract game, you might, this could be thousands of years old. Look at this obscure game I found from thousands of years ago.
It's alien technology.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, too many coffee stains on there makes it look old and patinaed. Like,
well, that would have been from my house, not your house, Doug.
Yeah, we just didn't
Yours
care about
would be
it
in a
enough.
case. Yeah.
Yeah, glass. What is this glass case protecting? They find all my Marvel United minis. What are these trinkets? What are these gods that they worshipped? So that's what's going around the board game world this week.
Oh, I've got one for you, though, Doug. It's a quick one, but I want to try to bring news to you, too, to see if you've heard about it. One of our favorite games of the last few years, if I could speak for both of us, is a game called Knar, Knarr, a game that we were first told about by folks in our Discord. Played it, loved it, both own it. Well, there is an expansion out now for Knar.
Interesting.
Bombix released Knar Skali, Skali, along with hopefully things that they could spell more easily in the future. So hoping to see a release from Pandasaurus. No news from the good old folks at Pandasaurus about this yet, if it is coming to the U.S., but I think we can expect to see that. It looks like it's adding
miniatures.
No minis, and there's very limited info, but it looks like it adds another little sideboard that will interact with the influence track. I did not see a rule book in the files on Board Game Geek as of yet because this is news.
Yeah.
But the description on BGG says, in a few months, the thing will take place where major decisions are made and judgments rendered. If you want your voice to count at this great assembly, you will need to increase your influence by expanding your village and participating in raids. So it looks like there's a little village track and a raid track. So excited to see that, and one that hoping one of us will pick up.
Get supplemental income, but
no, which is why I'm excited to see what Thomas DuPont and team have done, so that I can compete with you when we play.
My residuals, my royalties. If the game doesn't have royalties,
it balances out the passive income. Yes, I'm there now. I can play.
Oh, okay. Now I know why it's news for you.
Yes.
This just made Michael's top 5 games of all time list.
You got it.
All right. So that's what's going on. Now it's time to hear what's on our mind.
Each host brings a question, and no one knows where the discussion's going. It's time for What's on Your Mind?
All right, Michael, each week we're asking each other questions. We're going to stumble into thought-provoking discussions, but probably wrestle with bouts of stupidity. What is your question this week, Michael?
Are hidden gems a real thing, or is the hobby just overwhelmed with good but not great games? Question mark. You know who wrote that one?
Well, I don't know. Oh, you're pointing at me, Michael. That's a great question. It's funny, sometimes I write these questions in there and put them into the database because I'm more curious about what your answer is than what mine is. I can definitely see that logic, because I feel like the idea of a hidden gem is a game that is really good, but for some reason didn't get noticed. And almost like it's a great game, right? This is a great game that nobody's talking about. I feel like the hobby does a pretty good job of elevating even obscure games to massive popularity if they're great. NAR, for example, which we just talked about, would be a game like that, where it's had every possibility of falling through the cracks. Another Viking game, a card game, things like that. But it got elevated and shown some prominence, which then makes me feel like if it doesn't, if the cream doesn't rise to the crop or to the top, does that just mean that there are a bunch of good games? That the ones that are not rising to the top are good games, but they're just not great games. And with such a huge amount of good games coming out, does that just mean that they get lost in the shuffle every year? So a game that is ranked 15,000. I mean, geez, I know it just came out, but Rowdy Partners is probably 11,000 on Board Game Geek. And it's like, does that just mean it's a good game, not a great game? Because it would rise to the top if it were better. And you see some games that come out and immediately, I mean, Arc Nova immediately rose to the top, but it wasn't, when it originally came out, it was not, oh, this is some highly pedigreed designer at the time. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think there are absolutely hidden gems. I think your example of Rowdy Partners is a great example, because when you have 3,500 to 5,000 products getting published annually, marketing matters.
Yeah.
And if games are not marketed, or if they are undermarketed, or if there's, I'll take the 2 games that you just had examples of. Arc Nova, there was an innovation in there. The action selection mechanism was and it came out at Essen. It was a huge Essen release. And then Capstone brought it to the United States, and the timing and the marketing just boom, boom, boom. It rocketed up the Board Game Geek hotness and into the game of all time list. Compared to a team, 2-player, trick-taking, wrestling game, that game's going to be a hidden gem for a long time. I mean, you're going to have to like a few different things to love that game. And the thing about when innovation happens with I think with board gamers, some are instant and others take time, and others may take a second edition or a different publisher or a release in a different language. And it has me thinking about other segments that we could do very consistently because there are hidden gems.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you yesterday about, well, what about a segment in case you missed it, where we just mention a game and say, hey, we played it, and say 3 sentences each of the game and move on. Like there's just so many, even if what you just said is true, and I agree with you, there's good, but maybe not great, but there's so many good games that may be good for you, but great to me, or good to me, but great to you. So,
yeah, I think that right there is the important distinguisher, which is in a sea of good, some of the games are great to me and some of them are great to you.
Yes.
And it becomes, and under that guise, there certainly are hidden gems of games I have in my collection that I think are great, but the culture as a whole maybe doesn't, the hobby as a whole doesn't agree with me, or they think it's a good game, but not a great game. And ultimately ends up with the idea of how good does a game need to be a gem? If you're also looking at something as like, this is ranked 20,000 on Board Game Geek, which on the basis is this is the 20,000th best game that's ever been released. Does that mean you can't like it? No, of course not. You can love it and it can be great. And then to your point, what marketing things, whether it's an influencer for the positive or the negative, you have a big reviewer come out and say this game is great. Everybody's now turned on and listening to that game. If you say it's terrible, there's a huge portion of the audience that just dismiss it, and it's like, I don't even need to bother playing it at that point. So there are certainly a lot of factors of whether it's marketing, influencers, the number of releases that are all contributing to why games might fall down there. And I think it ultimately comes down to, if it's great for you, that's all that matters. And whether it's a true hidden gem that should have mass appeal but doesn't for some reason, I don't know if that exists. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. There seems to be a large portion of the hobby that likes to be in the exclusive minority of, well, I've got this game that not many people like it, but I do, and it's a class. It should be great. So like knowing that there are people like that in the hobby, I feel like those things would rise to the top if they truly were great, because there are people like that, right? That want to be in that exclusive club. And so people would like, well, he thinks it's great, I better try it. And and that there would be a swelling of support for some of those games as well. But let us know in the Discord what you guys think, whether hidden gems exist or if it's just a result of so many games being released. My question for you, Michael, is, are there mechanics or themes that you've found yourself cooling on?
Oh, absolutely. I think there are mechanics that I'll come across and be like, I absolutely love this, but when am I going to get into this with a game group or family? And I cool on them just because I don't get to play them as often. You know,
Interesting.
like the Arc Nova is an example of that, and I think the Hegemony is another example of that. Both and Autobahn, all three of those games involve hobby level hand management. It's like,
Sure.
well, my 10-year-old and I, we're not going to sit down and play Arc Nova.
You're not a real gamer if you
I
can't teach a
know,
10-year-old
I know,
hegemony.
I know,
What's wrong with you?
I know. What is wrong with me? So I think sometimes the cooling is because of that. Because I will get so excited about a game from one initial play. It's like, and have that experience and just be all in, and then trade to get 2 more games that have similar mechanics that are very closely aligned to it. And it's like, well, what'd I do that for? When am I going to be able to play those? So I really do enjoy hand management, but as I look out at my collection, it's like, yeah, I'm probably good there. Trick taking is the other one that it's not that I've cooled on. I just have so many in my house that I probably won't bring in any more until I get 5 or 6 of them out of my house.
Okay.
So those would be the 2 for me.
So you have enthusiasm, a waning enthusiasm, and then a surplus, right? Are the 2 things that are causing cooling. Is there anything that you've found that you thought you liked a theme or a mechanism, and then played it, and then you're like, I don't need to play. Like they're not hitting the same way anymore. Like you've more of like the overuse. It's like the opposite of the scarcity.
I have one of those, and then I'll send it over to you because I'm very curious about your thoughts. But I have enough worker placement to last me a lifetime. Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm not going to really bring in any more worker placement into my house unless I've tried it. Like that's got to be a try before buy. And even in backing, I'll hear and kind of think about, ooh, maybe I should go in on that crowdfund. And it's like, wait. I mean, I've got all the worker placement behind me a human could ever want. So that would be the one. How about you?
My big one and kind of the thought behind the question is kind of cooperative games, which when I first got into the hobby was something that I was really excited about. And I still enjoy cooperative games. I just have really become more discerning about. I found that a lot of them fall into a trap of if a co-op game has a lot of upkeep, or that turn where the villain or bad guy playing becomes overly complicated, that there's so much bookkeeping in between, which that type of thing where I found myself not enjoying them as much as maybe I used to. But there's still great ones, and I still enjoy a good cooperative game. But maybe in the past there would have been, ooh, there's a new cooperative game. I'd be like, ooh, tell me about it. And now I'm like, okay. Like it's not getting me as excited as it used to be. And I think it's because I played so many that didn't hit. So when I first got into the hobby in pandemic, it's like, this is great, and I love this. And it's like, oh, you flip over the card, and it like that kind of structure of, I do good things, then bad things happen. I do good things, and bad things are kicking me down. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's just when those bad things require a flow chart of this is the order of operations, and we got to do this, and we got to do that. Kind of think about the idea of Heat Pedal to the Metal, which I know is not a cooperative game, but it does have autonomous players in there, depending on player count or if you want to throw them in there. And they operate so easily that just like, okay, this goes there. All right, we're continuing to play. And there's been some cooperative games where things just kind of slow down to a halt of how do these things work when I'm managing them, and become more procedural and take me out of that moment of, all right, let's fight the disease, and you go there, I'll go there, and that type of team building, to where it's like, all right, everybody slow down the game. We got to figure out what the bad guys, he's going there and he's doing this. Now, how many points do you have over there? Okay, he's not attacking you, he's coming over here. And there's like this whole big thing. And there was a couple of games that we had played recently, one particular that It was like, this is too much kind of work. I feel like I'm doing too much. So I've definitely cooled off. That's kind of the big one that's cooled off for me, where I used to perk up when I heard that, and now I'm just like, I got to see it. Similar to maybe how you are with worker placement.
But is some of that you already know that you have the best 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour cooperative games that could be? Like, is some of it pandemic return to Dark Tower syndrome? Like, why would you want to play that cooperative when you could play that? Is that some of it?
Definitely. I mean, I think if you have a handful that you really enjoy, and it's impossible not to play new ones and compare them to what experience did I get from this compared to what I can get out of what I already know. For sure, it plays into a part.
That's where I'm at with the worker placement. I mean, I was just wanting, because I've got my 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour worker placement games. I'm good.
Yeah. So and then at that point, it really needs to wow you in order to get in there. Where if you rewound the clock back 15 years and somebody showed this game to you without experience of pandemic or Return to Dark Tower, you'd be like, ooh, this is pretty interesting. This is doing cool stuff. And now some of it maybe just seems kind of old hat. But I'm interested to hear from our listeners whether there are games or types of games that they've cooled on. Certainly there are themes that I wouldn't say I cooled on, but I'm kind of bored of, whether it's nature games or things like that. But I can't really say I cooled on them because I wasn't seeking out nature games in the first place. But whether there are themes or mechanisms that you found yourself cooling on, we'd love to hear from you on that. All right, time to play a game, Michael.
Yep.
Some of these Board Game Geek reviews are real, and some are absolute nonsense. Can you tell which is which? It's Troll No!
All right, it's Troll No, and each host is going to pick a game, read some of the negative reviews left on Board Game Geek. The tricky part is that some of the reviews are made up, Michael, and the other host needs to guess whether the comment is from a real internet troll, so a troll, or is made up, or no. All right, you ready, Michael?
Oh, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, do you want to go first? Or you want me to?
You decide.
All right, I'm gonna take out one of Michael's darlings here. We are going to be covering reviews from Darwin's Journey.
Oh no, Doug, so mean.
Now, I will give you solace in that some of these comments are from people that gave the game a 3, not even a 1. So I had to. The ones actually weren't too bad. It was just
a little worried about singularity, and you're going to realize why when we get to my Troll or No. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. We're sharing a brain now.
It's getting close.
We're
it's
like
getting
an
really
old couple.
close.
All right. First one. Very lazy design from the Italian school of modern Euros. Internet troll or me?
Internet troll.
That is correct. It was an internet troll.
It's not a very lazy design. That's Sir Mangone put a ton into that.
A pain to teach and a chore to play.
That is authored by one Douglas Kotecki.
That is incorrect. That is an internet troll. Put that online. All right. 100 terrible mini games all in one box.
Troll.
That is a Doug Kotecki. That is a Douglas Kotecki opinion. All right. Is there a secret designers club that determines that every heavy Euro game must be devoid of color, thus making each track indistinguishable from one another in any meaningful or thematic way?
That internet troll is so wrong, because if you look over my right shoulder, you'll see that gorgeous yellow box. I don't have anything else in my collection that matches that. You roll out the board with the rubber seals and the metal coins and the gorgeous cards. Ugh. Troll.
That was from Doug Kotecki.
Oh, what a rude jerk.
All right. This game uses tracks and tedium to, quote, entertain players.
Doug.
That is a troll. Oh, Michael, not doing so good.
We're 6 here.
We're cutting too close to your heart on this one. All right. The teach left me baffled, and I had no idea what was happening.
Troll.
Oh, that is from me.
Rude. For listeners, I did the teach. Why don't you read that again, Doug? Why don't you read that again, Doug?
Hold on, let me get my glasses back on. The teach left me baffled, and I had no idea what was happening.
And no less than 15 times on this show did I own the poor teach. And Doug would say, it wasn't the teach. It wasn't the clearly. Well, it looks like I know what we're playing at our next game day, Doug. The beatings will continue until morale improves. We're playing Darwin's Journey.
All right. The board is an absolute mess of tiny icons that make the experience far worse than it needs to be.
Troll.
That is correct. Good job, Michael. Picking up steam. An awful hodgepodge of mechanic complexity with little depth, no thematic integration, and incidental interaction.
Doug.
That is a troll. That is an online troll wrote that.
That's clearly somebody who didn't even play fully. They just did the Board Game Arena tutorial and moved on.
All right. I firmly believe this game was designed just to create rubber wax seal components.
Doug.
That is correct.
There's so much player interaction. You get blocked out of a space. You can't actually go and explore there because somebody's there. So now you have to decide what you're going to do.
Michael's getting hot. I like it. All right. Are we now out of the era of publishing studios refining games? Are designers now just asked to throw everything at the wall and hope it all sticks?
See, you want me to think that that's you, but that's a troll. That's an internet troll.
That's an internet troll. All right, Michael, you got 5 out of 10.
Not bad.
Not bad. The last times we played this game, you were lights out. You could see right through it. I tried to be a little bit more incognito this time.
Well, you went into incognito mode after my heart. This week's game is actually Heat, Pedal to the Metal, which Doug just referred to. All right. And I have ratings and comments for 3 up on Board Game Geek. So hence the singularity. All right. And you have to decide if this is troll or no.
Okay. Internet troll or Michael?
Not impressed. Too long. Game plays itself. I got bored after 30 minutes.
That's an internet troll.
It is an internet troll.
Yes.
So I need to keep score like you kept score. All right. Note that. Yes.
This is nerve-wracking.
Doug has 1.
Got to know all his body language. He's trying so hard not to tip anything off. Normally, I laugh at my own jokes, so it's very difficult for me.
You do laugh at your own jokes a lot. What was that one about the teach? Oh man, I'm gonna replay that over and over. A hand management racing game. The theme is okay. The art is okay for the theme. The gameplay loop is repetitive and boring.
Think that's Michael.
Internet troll.
Oof.
Who says that the art is okay? It's Vincent Dutrait. He does all the art by hand.
He does the art for every game. So if you don't like Vincent Dutrait, you don't like board games.
Exactly. If I want to play a racing game, I'll play Downforce or Mario Kart.
Michael McCabe.
That is a Michael McCabe.
All
got
right.
that right. I'm trying to act like I'm reading it, so I didn't tip my hat on that one, but I got to act a little bit better. All right. Not as impressed with this as other people seem to be. Still a counting exercise. Game is won or lost. very early based on who optimized the curves the best. Too long. Boring.
That is an internet troll.
That is an internet troll. See, I thought I'd get you with the boring in all caps. All right. Now, in this person's defense, English is not the first language, okay?
So did you just admit that it's...
No, you know. Wobbly. I did not understand how to use the cards. This game baffled me. Only played on Board Game Arena.
I'm hoping that's an internet troll based on the preface.
That's me. I got you with the preface.
Okay, well, those are outside the rules.
Keep in mind, there's a lot of threes, right?
I like how people rank it. I love how people rank these games threes, and then their comments imply that it's the worst game in the world. That's
exactly.
Like, why didn't you just give it a 1?
Yep. I heard about this game and honestly was not very interested. But then our friends brought it over, so we gave it a shot. And what can I say? I was right. All 4 of us agreed we were not interested in playing it again and did not understand why it was so well received. Maybe because Shut Up and Sit Down liked it, but there's really not much to it. The game seems to mostly play itself.
Internet troll.
Yes. God darn it, Doug. BGA, didn't care for it. Would rather play Dungeon Card over this.
Michael McCabe.
Internet troll.
Ooh.
Yeah. 3 more to go. Okay. Does every game designed by Vincent Dutrait instantly get elevated into Game of the Year category? Question mark.
That's Michael McCabe.
It is.
That's pulling on my heartstrings.
Yep. Too much luck and complicated rules without strategic choices and not enough excitement as a race. I wanted randomness in a race, but with more excitement. I'd prefer Thunder Road Vendetta.
Michael McCabe.
Internet troll. Oh. So it all comes down to this.
Would I have 5 right now?
You're at 5 no's and 4 yeses, so you can tie me. Okay. Flamme Rouge without bikes. Heat mechanism is neat, but otherwise, same old tedious card shuffling.
It's a good one. I'm going to go with Michael McCabe.
That was an internet troll.
Oh,
4 correct, 6 incorrect.
Oh, I didn't. I had 5. I thought I had 5 right. I thought you said I had 5 right.
No, you had 4 correct going into that last question.
Oh.
You needed the last question to tie me.
I don't feel like I did that bad. I feel like
I know.
You weren't keeping track
You said
properly.
40%. I mean, if you're shooting threes, I'd tell you to keep shooting the ball. Keep it tracked properly. Go back and replay it.
I'm going to have to go look at the tape.
I got my yeses and nos.
I feel like I was getting you all over the place. It was only until the end I went in a bad run.
Yeah, you got 5 out of the last 6 wrong. Good try.
That's bogus.
It's a fun game, though, isn't it?
All right, that's Troll or No. Let's talk about what we've been playing.
Yeah.
What was a hit at the table? What missed? And what we're still thinking about? This is the monthly game roundup.
All right, Michael, what'd you play this month? This is going to be a recap of some of the games that we played and thought and kind of run through some of them quick.
Yeah, I had 24 different plays this month. It was a big month. Had a game day in there at your house, had a game day in there at my house. We've had game weeks regularly. So got a lot of different plays in. How are we doing this?
Yeah, throw something at me.
Misfit Heroes, Phil Walker Harding game that I played on 3 different occasions with 3 different groups. It is so just 2 or 3 sentences. This is a latest card crafting game, but not designed by John D. Clare. It's designed by Phil Walker Harding, one of my favorites. It was crowdfunded recently. I got it It came in, got it played, and I absolutely love the game. My kiddo that I played it with liked it. My game groups that I played it with did not care for it as much as I did, but it's definitely sticking around for me. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, it's you're basically using cards in order to play out onto your board, and then has a little bit of the Castle Panic kind of rows and columns, scoring points and getting things next to each other, with two cards, that a clear card and a normal card that you merge together to make a unique card. I thought, for me, this one was one where it could have just been the experience that I had, but I felt like I could never...
The lousy, miserable teach.
Yeah, this terrible teach. No, it was I felt like I was trying to go down a path and I just could not get the cards to go on that path.
Yeah, and that happens.
So that was where it was tricky, where it's like I liked the scoring mechanisms. I liked the racing to collect these gems or rewards as you go. But there was a part where just felt like I couldn't get what I needed. And I think I was fairly close in all of the games. So it wasn't like it was, I got blown out and I hated it. It was just
I had
trying
the same
to do
thing
something
happen. I'm sorry.
And not being able to get it done.
Yeah.
And then the cards didn't seem like you would be changing them out enough for the whole clear card and the other card going together, that almost like it didn't feel like it was randomized enough. And then at other times it felt like
it was too random for you, right?
Yeah, which is kind of weird. It's almost like I wanted to either mix it up crazy all the time, or I want it to be like a solid castle combo.
Well, make up your mind, Doug.
I cannot. I'm not. I'm going to leave a 3 on that. No.
And
it was a good game. Yeah.
That's why the Misfit for me it just worked, Yeah. So.
All right. So a older game that we got to the table, that the last time we had played this game was during a Wisconsin winter during a game day. And my wife kept coming down and saying, it's coming down pretty good out there, guys. You might want to go. And Michael's like, no, I'll be fine. And then, I don't know, must have been
my
around.
car's a hybrid. It handles great in the snow.
It handles great in the snow. It's a front-wheel drive hybrid. It's going to slice right through this Wisconsin winter. And then when it was, I don't know, it was probably 10 or 11, Michael decided, all right, about the time to wind down for the night, got out into his car, barely made it out of the driveway, pulled back into the driveway, and
There's
said,
14 inches of snow on the ground. I'm here for the night. Nothing I can do about that.
And so, we probably played till like 2 or 3. We were much younger men then. And we played this game, I think, post returning back into the house, or it may have been the last one before. And that was Chocolate Factory from Alley Cat Games, from Matthew Dunstan and Brent J. Gilbert. This one came out in 2019. And this is one that, it's been on my shelf since then, and I wanted to get it played again, and we were able to play it 2 more times. And it's just a great game of running a chocolate factory. You have these shifts that you bring in cocoa beans. You're then turning those into fingers and chunks and turning them into packaged candies and then boxes of candies. And you are selling those to local markets that only you can sell to, and you are selling it to the big chain stores that are represented in the game, which is kind of like a track that you're going up. Whoever has is highest on each track is going to score points, but you're scoring along the way as you fulfill these local orders in front of you. What I really like about it is it really has that assembly line feel. You're using coal to run your machines. You never have enough coal. And each round, although the running of your machine in your factory is pretty solitaire, the in-between round, you're getting an employee and a new machine.
There's a cutthroat draft. Yep.
And that provides enough interaction throughout the game of, I really want that ability, because the worker abilities are tied to which big chain you can sell to. And there is advantages to selling to all of them. Or if you want to increase your position, you may be picking a certain employee, not for their ability, but where they allow you to sell to. And that is pretty intense of looking across the table and being like, don't take that machine. Don't take, I took that machine.
Yep.
So I really enjoy this one. So yeah, that was Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, you're really good at it. I found that out because I've loaded up and played a handful of games on Board Game Arena since then, and I've competed better against people who play the game regularly than you, Doug.
Yeah.
But that draft is phenomenal because you can kind of look out on the board and realize, okay, I need to sell to that specific shop, and I have to do it this round to get the multiplier. But on the other side of possibilities, oh man, look how I could optimize if I can get that machine instead. So those decisions are combined with, I hope they don't take that one over there. Great game. Great game.
And
Glad
it's a
we
snake
replayed
draft, which is unique and cool too as well, which I really like that idea.
Yeah. All right, my turn.
Yeah.
Got a play of Fractured Sky in which I was really happy. Fractured Sky is designed by Max Anderson, Zach Dixon, and Austin Harrison. It comes from the Ivy Studio team. When it won Production of the Year from Dice Tower at Gen Con, and I got my eyes on the Super Deluxe, I got home and instantly started firing off like 15 for 1 and 12 for 1 trade offers to try to get this. It was like, yeah, I want that. I just want it. I want it. And one of the trade offers came through, and it's been sitting on my shelf since about September-ish. And I didn't think it was one that you would like, Doug, because of the area control portion and bluffing.
Sure.
So it combines two things that you're not a huge fan of: lying to other humans, which we in the board game world called bluffing. But you're directly being deceitful. Yeah. And area control. So I played it at a time where I knew Doug wouldn't be coming around. The other people at the table didn't seem to enjoy it as much as I did. I loved it. Ooh, did I love it. And I love it because you're trying to collect these little starfalls. And it's tight. Like everything in the game is very tight. And I did not trash talk, but I very much laid back in the weeds. I could see where one buddy was spamming an area. It's like, go spam that area. It's going to get you 2 whole starfalls for the game. Whoa. But the end game scoring in this 4-player game, I won with 9. I'm going to say the names because Doug knows them. Papa had 8, Dan had 6, and John Spike had 7. So it was one of those where it was so tight, right?
Yeah.
And it's staying. Like it's on my heavy gamer shelf. It's like I've got the lenticular cards, the painted minis. It has this little magnet where you put your bidding piece out, it locks in place and the magnet gets set out on the board. It is a hot mess for me with colors. Like I will have to always ask people, is that like the blue, purple, green, and green? I can't tell any of them apart, but I love it. I absolutely did. I loved my play.
So what is the play time?
I think with Teach, the setup is kind of what takes some time. With Teach, it ran us at 90 minutes. It says 45 to 75 minutes. I do think it is about 15 to 20 minutes per player. It's pretty quick.
How do you feel about games that take, so in that case, say 90 minutes?
Yeah.
And then the total points that you're getting over 90 minutes is 9 points. Do you like that?
I love it.
Or
I love it.
Do you like when
each round
things
matters.
are so tight?
I do because especially, and I thought the Teach was pretty good. I think if I were to do it again, I'll probably run this at Gamehole Con, and the Teach will be great. I don't care what your opinion is. What I will emphasize, which I didn't emphasize because I didn't know it was the initial play, every round matters. So if you can get this starfall in the first round, good job. If you can pick up 2 in the second round, you're really doing a great job. And you could set up different marketplaces and things to kind of buff your engine in certain areas. So you could see where people are going early. And the magical thing about it, you can only bid up to 10 for the whole round. And your 10s and zeros are the same color. So if I put a 10 piece out, I could let people think that's a 10 piece. Really, I just threw a 0 out there because I'm going to throw my 10 out at the very end to make you think that that's the 0, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where the bluffing comes in. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I think that John really enjoyed it. I think the other two were meh. And that seems to be kind of, it's a game that's made for me. I love area control. I love bluffing. Oh, and the bling. Yeah, I'm there for that too. It hit all my vanity gamer type things.
Yeah, I'm usually not a fan of like low scoring games like that unless it is something like a Catan or something where you're like, it's low scoring point, but you're racing to that level or you know about where people are going to get. So there's something like mentally that bothers me where it's like I put in all this work and all I got was 10 points.
Right.
It's like if it was 100 points,
right.
Like it doesn't matter if the spread was the exact same, but if I had 100 points, I'd be like, all right, yeah, that's 5 points. That's this. You feel like you're doing stuff. The other one feels more drudgery trying to get like scratching and clawing for every point.
Yes, selfishly, Ivy Studios is going to be running a campaign coming up. So for me, I needed to know like, hey, am I going to keep this or is it an optimal time to flip the game, right? Because the best time to flip a game is when someone's running a campaign. But now it's like, oh, now I got to watch that campaign because I liked it so much. The other last thing I'll say, folks, don't play with a playmat. Just play with the game board. This was one because of the colors and everything else. The playmat kind of, I mean, and we all said that afterwards. It's like, yeah, the game board, it wasn't just a me thing with my color blindness. It was everyone's like, no, the game board is much clearer. So that was Fractured Sky.
All right. The next one I got here is the Sims board game. So Michael and I got a chance to try this out at Gen Con in the Hot Games room. I played The Sims when it came out. Big fan of the series and the genre. Picked it up fairly inexpensively from Target and played it with my family. And so this was Goliath Games. And it just did not work well with the family. The play at Gen Con was good enough to warrant like, okay, there could be something here. I mean, we were kind of rifling through games pretty quickly to just try and sample as much as we could. But it just fell flat. There was the theme doesn't really come out that well for what I kind of want it to be. Like it did not feel like if you have a game that's about a life simulator, something like The Pursuit of Happiness would fulfill that job way better than this game did. And I was kind of hoping that it would be somewhere in between where The Pursuit of Happiness is a pretty in-depth game. Yep. And I was hoping that this would be kind of a bridge in between The Pursuit of Happiness and the game of life. And unfortunately, it was below it was fine. It just wasn't very engaging. It seemed like everybody was kind of just going through it. And it's one of those things where there's a lot of theming on the cards and the text of the cards, but you're not reading them while you play it. So it's not really adding, eventually it just distilled itself down to, I'm trying to get symbols to complete objectives and score points. In the game, you're sending out your little, I can't think of what they call it, but your little character piece, and then you're going into the green thing that's above their head. There's like
they don't call them Sims. Yeah.
Well, you're a Sim, but they call that little bulb or whatever something else.
I'll let you talk.
You're all right. But you send it out to different areas, and then that is depleting. Yeah, it might deplete your hunger. It might deplete your cleanliness or your bathroom breaks, things like that. And then you're taking cards from a marketplace. And theme was cool, not a great execution. So that was the Sims board game. Didn't work for me. Didn't work for my family, but I'm sure there's people out there that will enjoy it and have a good time with it. But it was a miss for me.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, Doug. I'm gonna do one more here, and there's a little story that goes with it. So, do you want the game or the story?
I want the lead up to the game with the story.
All right, great. So, I'm in line at Noble Night, not to buy, but 2 to 3 times a year. Noble Night Games, right outside Madison, Wisconsin, claims to be the largest game store in the world, has what's called a trade-in days. And it really, I mean, if you're anywhere within driving distance, it's a great time to take in a bunch of games because you get paid for mileage, and whatever the offer is, they increase it by 15%. So I'm there with boxes of games, a bunch of games, doing a clear out. The guy behind me, we're both in line. They got us moving, but he's in line and he's got some really good games. And I'm like, man, I kind of want to just take some of your games home. And so we just start chit-chatting, as one to do when you're in line. Excuse me. And we do the old, what have you been playing recently? Sorry about the delay there. And he tells me, well, my wife and I have been playing a game called American Bookshop. And I just start gushing and saying, I've been wanting to try that game for years. It seems like a very basic trick taker, almost like a My Baby's First trick taker. But I'm not willing to pay the $90 to $120 like it's out of print. It's a small box Japanese game. I know they have a Spanish version called Corta. I know DeVere released a Spanish version, but getting an English version, I'm just not willing to pay for it. He said, I happen to have a second copy of the game, and I'll sell it to you at cost. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're my new favorite person. And people will tell you that, but then after you trade in games, is it really going to happen? So we trade, I send him a text right there in line. He's like, yeah, I'll get back to you. Well, he does. And he sent it to me for cost. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I got American Bookshop played, and I got it played a few different times with a few different groups. And it did everything that I was hoping that it would. It's a must-follow trick taker, but based on player count, there's a number. And once that number is met or exceeded, the person wins the trick. So at 4 players, it's 17. So if Doug lays a 0, and if I lay a 10, and the next person lays a 7, they're going to win that trick. Now, the tricky thing is, at the end of the round ends immediately when one person is out of cards. The only thing that's going to score positive is if you won the majority in that color. So, I might be having 7 of the yellow and 3 of the blue. Well, I definitely want to win the yellow because I've clearly got the majority, but now those 3 blue are going to count against me. Except any of the cards that are left in my hand, I get to choose if I want them to count for the cards that are down in front of me. And that's really the entire game. But that end round choice is so key because you could do some card counting, but looking around, it's like, I might actually have the majority of blue here because I've got another 2 blue in my hand. Do I want them to count or not? It's either going to be -5 or I might push into +5. And I love that end round decision that comes into it. So it's a tiny box. You could do it with a deck of cards and with just setting what the end round scoring is with common cards. So there's lots of ways to kind of hack the game if you want to play it or try it. But I really liked it. I'm curious what your thoughts are because you got to play in. Would you play it again?
Yeah. I think I won, so I'd play it again. No. It's certainly an interesting. It kind of reminded me of, it was like a trick-taking version of Now, where you sometimes are forced to win tricks that you don't want to. We were playing with my daughter, and there are things she's like, I don't want any of these cards, and so there's kind of managing that and just the idea of a typical trick taker of, all right, when do I want to reduce and limit my number of suits, and when do I want to see if I can milk more out of it. But then it's like, if you're loaded with one suit, yeah, you're probably going to get the majority, but that also means that other people don't have those cards, so they're going to be dumping off garbage to you if you think like, oh, I'm going all in on yellow.
Yeah.
Once people kind of get wind of that, then that gets shut down pretty quickly. So,
well,
I thought it was interesting.
Cool. And I'd had probably 8 or 9 different small box card games that did not hit. I mean, no loose ends. I could keep going, or it's just like, man, what am I doing here? Why am I even picking these up? But that's when American Bookshop did hit. I was like, yes. So,
all right, my last game is we talked about a little bit earlier, and that's Rowdy Partners from Capstone Games 2025. It was on my top games of the year. And in Rowdy Partners, you can play a 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player, I believe. Might even be a solo variant in there, probably. But essentially, you are a tag team of wrestlers, and you kind of, which I love, that you play teams the same way that you would, play euchre or some of the games that I grew up on. And you take your wrestler, and I combine it with Michael's wrestler, and that becomes our tag team. And we have a joint chart that we're moving up that gives us bonuses as we go, so different kind of power-ups and abilities. And then each of us has our health. And what I really like about this game is that one player is in the ring, and one player is the lead of those four wrestlers, right? So 2 people are in the ring, and then there's a lead for it as well. And the first person plays a card, and then the other 2 opponents play cards, and then your teammate finishes with the last card. So anyway, players will play a card out, and then you have to match suit, but there are wild suits, and there are also, if you're out of a suit, you can play any card. But if the numbers match, they flip over, which then gives the opportunity for that third player to maybe change the suit. And if you win the trick, you do damage equal to the value of the card that you won with. So the lower the value, you're going to win. The low card wins as opposed to the high card wins. So it can be difficult to do a lot of damage, but people are tagging in and out, and once you get down to the bottom, you have to do those bigger damages in order to advance them on their track. So it's like you have to get those last steps in chunks. And it is really cool because you can't communicate with your partner. And there are moments where you're putting something down. It's like, I think this is going to work. And then the other person's like, I wish you didn't do that. Or people are getting tagged in. But then also times where it's like, oh, that is so great that you did that because I can change the whole board state right by flipping this down. Really cool game, really fun, and in a team experience that I haven't had in a while with gaming. A lot of times in team games, one team is just beating up on the other team, or like that one versus many type of thing. Just feels like people are getting ganged up on. This really felt like a team game. So that's Rowdy Partners. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, one of my favorite game experiences in the last several years. And I mean that. The back and forth aspect with the trick taking and how you can see the abilities that are happening intentionally or unintentionally as cards are being played. They'll initiate different, there's like ability tracks. I don't know what else to refer to them, but everything's out in the open. You can see the impact of a person's health, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I'd play that game anytime, anywhere.
Yeah. You get you can get the upgrade abilities allow you to tag out earlier, or you can play a token out maybe that changes the suit, or you can make it any number, or things that's like, this was a 2, but I'm putting this on there, so now it's a 4. And things like that can boost or do double damage. It's a really interesting game. So that's Rowdy Partners. All right, so that's what we played this week.
Just one thing while we're wrapping up, I want to thank our listeners. I know I have a voice and face made for radio, and my voice is taking a beating this week just with coaching ball. So it left a lot of my voice on the court with 3 games this week, but I promise next week, the week after, you'll get that smooth radio voice that you've known to expect. And yes, I can confirm that this oversized nose is not AI generated. This is what I've been given. So, all right, you ready to close this out?
Yeah, be proud of that. I want to thank our sponsor this week, even though Michael doesn't want to, the Nomad foldable gaming table. Check that out. I think it's a great value for your money. Check out our website, boardgameradio.com. Stay up to date, get all the links you need, and track us across the interwebs. And consider subscribing to this show on your podcast platform of choice. Leave a 5-star review. We would appreciate that. So from all of us behind the mics, the games, and the bad jokes, thanks a million for tuning in.
Clear the table, call the gang, and keep the good times rolling. Join us next week for Board Game Radio.